There was a lawsuit that was filed against P. Diddy. Now Jay-Z has been added to that by Houston attorney Tony Busby, alleging a sexual assault with a 13-year-old in the year 2000. Now Jay-Z, of course, is firing back at that attorney, saying that he is trying to be extorted. He released a statement that was, straightforward and hardcore. He said, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these type of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these type of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, will be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am." That right there, quite a strong statement, Cameron, from Jay-Z. Again, the initial lawsuit was filed against Diddy. Jay-Z was added to it. He filed a claim against Busby, and now has gone public. Your thoughts?
I will say this: Jay-Z is very clear on where he stands, he and his team. Usually when you see these types of letters or denial letters, they're a little more muted. Jay-Z, that might have been one of the strongest, most forceful statements in response to a lawsuit there. We are going to get the facts. Jay-Z has been a kind of pillar in the hip hop community for more than 20 plus years. Nothing like this has ever been attached to his name before, but it does seem that with this trial of Diddy, there's all this different speculation on who may have known what. This may be a discovery of facts, but if Jay-Z, I'm sure before writing something so forceful and putting it out publicly, knowing he's going to be held to task to that, when that does, if this does even ever make it to court or get dismissed, I'm just hoping, I think that narrative of where he talks about how in this day and age, some of those lawsuits or accusations can come against people, and now he has to explain it to his family, children, and so forth. I'm just hoping, I know kind of personally, that this is true and that we can believe Jay-Z just for so much he's done for both hip hop and the culture and the community. And if Jay-Z is proven right in the court of law, public opinion, I think this also is a huge damper on Tony Busby, who has kind of gained some national prominence over these last few years by trying to do these big class action lawsuits and so forth.
Congo, this was a statement that Jay-Z wrote on his iPhone. It did not come through his lawyer, and this came directly from him. And he makes it clear, not one red penny. You don't know who I am. talk about strict code. This is going to be a fierce legal battle between Tony Busby and Jay-Z and his lawyers.
Look, Roland, I have a doctorate on Jay-Z. I've been teaching a class on Jay-Z for about 5 years now at American University. There's a lot I've learned about this brother. And as Cameron was saying, this type of story is not something that really represents a lot of things that have been said about Jay-Z over the years. Now, people did talk about like Jay-Z and Foxy Brown, and she was younger. People threw out that. And he is somebody, through the foundation, through a lot of the community works, has definitely been seen as somebody who is a protector of children, somebody who values children. So this investigation needs to go out fully. One of the challenges I see out there is that people are already going to playing the guilty by association game, because Jay-Z is somebody who's been involved in projects with R. Kelly and Diddy, as well as Harvey Weinstein, but so many other people in the industry have. So people are throwing out this like attracts like, and I think that's not fair. We need a full investigation, and all of us in here on this show tonight want to be protectors of Black kids and Black girls and just in general. And so nobody's here is giving this man a pass. A full investigation needs to be done. But I will say, after studying him for so long, the fact that he would issue this statement personally himself, this means that this is something that he holds very dear, because oftentimes he has spoken through his lawyers, even as recently, remember with Piers Morgan and Jaguar Wright, just like last month or a month or two ago, had the lawyers respond. And so I think that this is something he's going to fight tooth and nail, and all the facts need to come out. And it is very unfortunate if there's any type of truth, and if there's not truth, it's also unfortunate that someone's name will be dragged through the mud for something that they didn't do. But like Cameron was saying, this is something that's not been a history with Jay-Z that a lot of people have talked about in the industry, though they've talked a lot about some of these other guys, including Diddy, before these charges came against him.
Nola.
So first and foremost, I think about the young woman in the suit. The first thing that my ears heard was that Jay-Z was added to the lawsuit. So I wonder under which circumstances that happened, why he wasn't named in the first lawsuit and why he was added. That's like the first question that I'm curious about. And I'm very curious about the well-being of this woman who brought forth this case, because it is Jay-Z. The burden of proof will be, it's a civil case. Jay-Z challenged him, let's go to criminal, let's see some evidence. So as we all know, the barrier is lowered when it's a civil suit. But I'm really worried about the role of the woman in this. If she's being manipulated in some sort of way, she deserves justice. So that's kind of first and foremost. Why did he get added? What's going on behind all of that? Secondly, when this first happened, if anyone who knows me, that I'm a huge, huge hip hop fan, and Jay-Z got me through my years at Harvard. Honestly, I would get off the red line listening to public service announcement just because I had to reintroduce myself to myself every day. Jay is philosophically, lyrically, he's that guy for me. And of course, I love Beyonce. But with all that being said, I am a big believer in believe the victim. I want to know more about this case. This is the type of case, because of the type of person you were going after, the family that you were going after. We need receipts. We need evidence, because you were persecuting one of the pillars of the Black community, in that this is a man who made it out of the projects. And if you listen to his music, you listen to his wisdom. One of the things that people admire about him are the smart moves that he's made. Diddy's always been the party guy. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's guilty of everything he's been charged with. He's always had that image. Sean Carter, a little bit different. It's always been about wisdom and making smart moves, and his family. Right? Well, not always about this family. There were the bad guy days. But anyway, my point being, this is a different type of person that Busby is coming after. And then my third point is, I talked to a lot of lawyer friends last night about this, and the first thing that they all collectively said is that Busby himself has an iffy record, that this is part of his tactic. So it's not only Jay-Z's reputation on the line, it's Busby's reputation on the line to pick this fight. I really, really hope he has the receipts to prove his allegations, because this one, the community, we're already hurting. We're already going through a lot. And now you want to come with this, especially if there aren't any real receipts to prove this allegation. I wish him well.
And, Nola, you were making a point, and you're absolutely right. The laws were changed in New York State and California. There was a window to allow people to be able to file these civil lawsuits when these actions have been alleged. But you have several things that are going on. So you have that, and you have concern about the alleged victim, but you also have due process and concern about those who are accused. And what you see here, Tony Busby came out and he said that he was getting phone calls from people all around the country alleging acts against Diddy and others, and he began to file suit. Here, what you have was an example again, and I think what stands out, and in many ways, this reminds me when Justin Fairfax, the former lieutenant governor of Virginia, was accused of a sexual assault. And when he came out and said, I'll take a lie detector test, he called on the DA in Boston and the DA in Raleigh, North Carolina, to step up and actually investigate the case. And that was rare, because typically you don't have somebody who's been accused of something demand for a criminal investigation. And so here what you have is when the Jay-Z issues this type of a statement, he's laying down a marker against his attorney. I mean, he's targeting this attorney directly, questioning his motives as a Marine and things along those lines. You rarely see this type of response when an allegation is made. And according to Busby said that they did not want compensation, but they wanted private mediation, which then caused others to say, well, I'm confused. Why, if you don't want money, why would you want a private mediation? And so, like I said, this is going to be a very, very fierce battle, because Busby is saying, I'm not backing down. And with that statement, Jay-Z clearly says, I'm not giving anything up to you at all.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's this is going to be one of those cases where multiple precedents are going to be made, in my personal opinion, because clearly Jay-Z has drawn a line in the sand where he was like, you are coming for me. My children are going to be involved because other children are going to ask them about it. This is his reputation, something that he's built for a very long time. And it also says to me that, if you've been a fan of Jay-Z's and you listen to his music, this also sounds like something he's been ready for. Because day one, when the allegations came out about Diddy, people were already looking for Jay-Z to be involved in some sort of way. And something else that I also saw today is that the blogs are already posting about how the NFL should end its relationship with Jay-Z. And it's a very interesting thing that this particular case will come up in this particular hostile environment, especially against Black folks that have been seen supporting Democrats. So all of that is going to be baked into this pie. So this is going to be a very interesting case to watch, to see what happens for a lot of reasons. And people feel very strongly about the Carters. They're very protective of the Carters. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens culturally, legally, and to see how this affects relationships, because right now a lot of relationships amongst people are fraught. So, and then we'll also keep an eye on to see if the NFL does, sever its relationship with Jay-Z. It's a lot to keep an eye on.
We're talking here on Congo money, lots of money. We saw what happened to Diddy when the Cassie lawsuit was filed. It impacts financially. And you're right, there are all sorts of business deals, things along those lines that are involved here. As I said, typically when you have a celebrity who is accused, you sort of have a different, again, you typically don't want it to be in the headlines. Here, was Jay-Z going public. A lawsuit was filed, and remember, Busby said, very prominent entertainer, Jay-Z was not named. Later, he was named, and that the naming of Jay-Z apparently came after Jay-Z's attorneys filed a suit against Busby. And so this is going to be a very contentious public legal battle.
Yeah, and it's really important that Jay-Z and his team stay in front of this, because I'm going to throw out another celebrity that we can talk about is Jonathan Majors. And look what happened with his career as well. And it's on a rebound, as some say, but he's already, lost a lot. And like Nola was saying with this thing with the NFL, similar with like a Jonathan Majors, once certain deals are gone, especially for people in our community get to these spaces, they're not coming back. Just like Jonathan Majors not going to be playing Kang in Avengers. Like if Jay-Z loses like the partnership with the NFL or some of these other places, I can't see them coming back. Nor could I see Jay-Z even wanting to mess with them if he's completely cleared of everything. And so in our community, when endorsement deals like this or connections like this happen with accusations like this and they get lost, there can be real damaging consequences. I think that's another reason why Jay-Z is getting ahead of this, because you can't let a certain narrative continue to play its way in the media, on television, and so on and so forth without giving any type of fire in return. And there's also people out there, Nola, who are saying that the other person who was present was Beyonce, because they're saying that there was a woman present when this happened. And so, again, this is an innocent until proven guilty. People need to fight this with everything that they have. And again, we need to find out what's happening with this victim. She was 13 years old at the time. Clearly, she's talking about something that happened with somebody that involved rape. So we absolutely have to be making sure that this person is being protected as well, making sure that there's not manipulation going on. I've heard a lot of negative things about Busby, but a lot of people talk about he has a great career representing people like Warren Buffett and all of this other type of stuff. But we just have to make sure in our community that we're doing our due diligence, because if anybody's guilty of this stuff, they're not going to keep our support or protection, or at least not the protection of those and support of those of us here. We know some people in our community who still mess with R. Kelly, got no problems with, his music and so on and so forth. But we got to do better than that. We got to support victims. We got to listen to them. But we also have to make sure that people are not being unnecessarily maligned, because that also happens too much in this industry and in all types of industry, famous or non-famous.
You look at that statement, Cameron, he uses the word extortion. That's not a word thrown around lightly. And that's what really stood out to me in reading this statement that was, again, typed on his iPhone. He is directly calling out the victim's attorney by saying, this man is trying to extort me and I ain't gonna do it. He says he ain't getting one red penny. You don't hear folk respond that way, and it doesn't matter if people are running left and right, and I'm seeing social media and folks are like, he's guilty, things along those lines. This is somebody who has resources, who could settle, but who makes it clear ain't settling. And I still would love to understand from Busby by saying the victim isn't seeking money. We wanted private mediation. For what purpose? So it's going to be, again, really interesting to see what happens here. And I doubt very seriously the partners of Jay-Z are going to abandon him. But this is also something that we have to understand, that, yes, there are alleged victims, but when you say that someone is an alleged rapist, that now doesn't go away. Even if you settle, even if you're found not guilty. And so it's not even a question of they have to prove it. Really, you have to actually prove it yourself. That's why this is so contentious and why his response was so surprising.
Yeah, Roland, I would take two things from what I saw Jay-Z in the response and the implications there. One, Jay-Z has been famous and really rich and really famous for going on 30 years now, something along that line. He has had top flight legal support and help to do the intricacy of business deals and all the successes he has had. And for him to skip all the probably millions of dollars in retainers that he pays some of the best lawyers in the world, definitely in the country, to represent him, and to give a direct response when I'm pretty sure has been trained for this to go through the lawyers and so forth, means it at least points to a person who is fully confident that at least he understands the truth and that he's not something he's not guilty of there. And then I think having worked obviously for a decade plus in the corporate communications industry, we also deal with a lot of crisis communications, and often, usually in celebrities or high profile, high ranking campaigns, and or high profile corporate positions and so forth, it is a tactic to be able to try to get this mediated and settled early, because they know most people fear the bad publicity. And so for Jay-Z to kind of look for no settlement, I don't know what private mediation looks like. It looks like 20 years later, if it is not tied to any kind of financial compensation, and this is not and there's no criminal recourse. I'm no lawyer, but I'm not sure exactly what they would be looking for then, other than, like I said, like this is a huge smear on his name. And then the other big thing that this does and that we must protect against, but it's kind of baked in the cake now, is this online matrix. Now with so many different stories and so many different attached keywords, everything that's going to happen in the Diddy lawsuit, now Jay-Z's name, when you Google his name, these might be one of those first top things that pop up in the search engine, the way that looks. And I think there's material damage just to his brand there, just by being even named in this. So if this is something, hopefully, but if this is something that Jay-Z is found innocent of, I think he has huge recourse for Busby to go after him, because now, just for now into who knows how long, just if you search his name, the matrix of stories of this will be attached to him as opposed to all his accomplishments.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free to download, free to use, next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.